all-time favorite tag team of all time, I've always said, is the Rockers. Just as a kid, they were like the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I was like 6 or 7 when I first saw
Marty Jannetty.
No, I was not quite. No, the original Rockers with Marty and Sean. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was heartbroken as a kid when they broke up. Besides them, I got to go the Hart Foundation. I mean, these are standard answers, but there's a reason these teams are standard answers. They're fucking tremendous. You know what I mean? The Harts. I'm a big Russo brothers fan. I know Broski thinks I'm just saying that because he's on the show, but no, I love the Russos. They make me smile every time I watch them.
Wow. Long live the Quebecers.
You were a Quebecers fan?
Well, I'm from Quebec, so of course I was.
As far as the 90s,
come on,
I definitely got to say, as far as the 90s, I loved the Steiner brothers as a kid. I loved Harlem Heat as a kid, even when they were heels. And I was young, I just thought they were awesome.
Oh, the WCW guys, okay.
More modern era, I would have to say Edge and Christian's probably been my last favorite tag team in the last 15 to 20 years. No team has entertained me more than those two guys together.
God, they were so good together. Good Canadian boys.
Yep. What about you, Broski?
Like Travis, like I mentioned, I am Canadian, so Hart Foundation, of course, was one of my favorite tag teams of all time. Bret Hart was one of my favorite superstars of all time. But you know what? I'm gonna say I always preferred Owen to Bret. I was a big Owen Hart guy. I think he was better in the ring. I think even better on the mic. I know that's not saying much because Bret on the mic wasn't exactly his strong suit, but
exactly.
I'm going to have to go with Yokozuna and Owen Hart with Mr. Fuji and Jim Cornette as their managers. First of all, I'm a huge Cornette fan. I'm a huge fan of managers in general, old school managers. And I just think they're underrated. Yes, they got a title run, but I don't think they get enough love that they deserve because you had Owen, who was the technical guy, the high flyer, the quick guy. And then you just had Yoko, who was this big, imposing dude. And I like tag teams that kind of complement each other to us. Not that I'm comparing them, but it's kind of like an Enzo and Cass, right? You got Cass, who's the guy on the mic, and you got Enzo. You got Enzo, who's the guy on the mic, and you got Cass, who's the big, bruiser type of guy. Not that I'm comparing them in any way, shape, or form, because I think Owen and Yoko are leaps and bounds way over them. But as far as modern tag teams, I gotta say, the Usos. The Usos have been nothing but ever since their heel turn. To talk about taking a team that was flat, the crowd reactions were dead, the gimmick was dead. The only cool thing that people seemed to still pop for was their entrance. I did like their old entrance. I thought it was cool, but this reinvigoration of the Usos and what they did on SmackDown, how they're just tough and they attack from behind and they're actually heels. I know a lot of people complained, oh, the Usos walked out, they got disqualified. They're heels. Why wouldn't they? Yeah, it's beautiful, and I hate these people.
I love that finish.
Yeah, it was great. It was great, and the reason why it was so great is because they were heels. Of course, they're gonna walk away.
It made fucking sense. That's why it was good.
Exactly. And heel did a heelish thing.
And I get so annoyed when people are like, "Oh, I hated that finish. Why can't we just get a straight finish?" Because why would you always get a straight finish? That's why I like Jinder. Exactly. He hasn't won a match on his own. He cheats all the time because he's a heel. And he's a heel. And I think what Cena said on SmackDown was perfect. You'll do anything you have to do to hold on to that title. A basic heel trait that isn't really used anymore. And why would you complain?
Look, I took a lot of shit for this tweet. I put out a tweet last week. And I think people took it the wrong way, but I said the worst thing a lot of you people did was discover Japanese wrestling in general. Yeah. Because it seems like no, hear me out. It seems like and I love Japanese wrestling, but I know the difference from Japanese to American wrestling. It's like and I'll say this new fan, this new fan I'm talking about this. I only watched G1 fucking Climax and Blibbity Blue, and you know what I mean. Once they discovered that, it's like, the difference in Japanese American wrestling, Japanese wrestling is so streamlined, very few and far between is there a schmoz, a DQ. So they want it to be like that in America because it flows better as a show over there. American wrestling has and always will be storyline based. It was in the NWA when it was wrestling driven. It still needed a storyline to carry on the feud for months. If you have a clean finish, this isn't collegiate wrestling.
Well, even the UFC, dude. The UFC is a legit, straight up shoot fight, but they still use pro wrestling to promote their fights.
Conor McGregor,
exactly.
Greatest promos ever.
Exactly.
And you saw with the UFC, the tidal wave of popularity with the UFC from 2010, I would say, when it was at its peak, to now has drastically fallen. Thank God for Ronda Rousey for the UFC, I would say. But
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, she kept them afloat.
People need to just. That's great, and I love New Japan Wrestling, but you got to learn the divide. You cannot expect it to be like that, because if it was, it would just be in that. You know what I mean?
Well, just the histories of Japanese and American wrestling are completely different. So, you know, like you can bring in all the Japanese talent you want, but they're going to have to Americanize if they want to be successful in an American market. That's basic. That's market research 101. You're not going to give a demographic what they don't want. Yeah, it's just a difference. There's so many different flavors of wrestling. Why does everything have to be the same? Why?
But you know, in 2017,
or television show is never going to be a perfect show the entire way. You're going to have A shows, they're really good, but there's always going to be something for every fan to not like on every show. That's what makes it good. Because if everything was perfect all the time, it would get boring and it would desensitize you, I guess, if you always expect to get things your way.
Why watch if you know you're going to get a 5-star match every single time? Why?
If you're always getting what you want, there's no anticipation anything. Also, in 2017, really, now is the best time to be a wrestling fan, because there is something for everybody. Don't get me. I've always known about New Japan. I've never really watched the product. The last time I watched the product a lot was freaking Chris Benoit was wrestling. In New Japan. It was a long ass time ago, but I saw Wrestle Kingdom early in January, and I absolutely fell in love with the entire show. And I heavily watch New Japan. I'm actually an NJPW World subscriber, but what New Japan doesn't give me, I feel WWE gives me, and what WWE doesn't give me, New Japan gives me. And what New Japan gives me is that in-ring stuff. WWE has their days, but I think New Japan is a better in-ring product. That's just my opinion. But for storylines and the glitz and the glamour and the feuds and the drama, that's WWE all the way. And I don't think any company can touch them in that aspect.
No, you're not going to touch the WWE's production. And that's why things like New Japan, indie feds, they're going to rely more on the in-ring product, because it's an actual area that, yeah, you can compete with WWE in terms of in-ring product, because not everybody is going to like vanilla. Some people want chocolate, some people want strawberry. And to say like, oh, and this is my biggest issue with the quote unquote new wrestling fans, the sense of entitlement. Oh, you watch only WWE, you don't know anything. Dude, I was watching wrestling before you were even, a thought in your parents' brain. How are you going to come tell me that I'm not a wrestling fan? And that kind of, it's not that it bothers me. It's just, I just feel like where is this sense of entitlement coming from? WWE, New Japan, PWG, ROH, all these promotions, they don't owe you shit. They're putting
because we were all like teens in the Attitude Era, right?
Yeah,
I bet not one of us was like, "Oh, I'm a WWE guy." No, we all channel flipped. Admit it, we all did.
Oh, dude, my dad was.
You know why I'm not channel flipping to Impact or getting invested in a lot of other? Because they all suck. Very few promotions. I don't like Lucha Underground. And
tell us how you really feel.
I'm saying they're Lucha Underground. I love that there's a style out there for people that appreciate that kind of wrestling show, but I don't have to like it just because it has wrestling in it.
Yeah,
I don't have to advocate for that show because it's called wrestling. I don't like all types of metal. I'm a fan of metal music. Some metal sucks.
And I think we can all agree here, as much as we might dislike TNA, Lucha Underground, RH, or any other promotion, as much as it's not for us, I think we're all in agreement here that more promotions equals more jobs for the boys, equals more wrestlers be able to make a living off wrestling, and that is a good thing. You don't have to like everything, but you have to acknowledge that there are different flavors of wrestling, and that somebody else might like that flavor. And if they do, that means that promotion is getting support, which means more guys can get paid, which means more possibility for more wrestlers to emerge and end up in the WWE, end up in Lucha Underground or ROH or PWG, anywhere. And what's wrong with that? More wrestling means that
I once picked up, I don't know if you guys remember the promotion XPW run by Rob Black. It was right after he. Okay. Yeah. I once picked up like a 4-disc set of like season 1 and 2 of that, and it's one of the worst things I've ever watched. But I'm sure there's fans of that promotion, and I'm not going to tell them they're horrible people or they're shitty fans because they enjoy it. You know,
Dude, I'll make an admission here. There's this wrestling, and I'm sure a lot of people know who he is. Grim. He's a YouTuber. He has 2 YouTube channels. One's a vlog, and one is for his GTS wrestling. Now, are these guys all top level, top notch wrestlers? No, but you can tell when you watch it that they're putting everything they have, their heart and soul. And you know what? Sometimes they're going to do stupid things. Sometimes they'll do goofy things. But guess what? They've released 3 pay-per-views, $1.99 each. I've bought every single one because they're fun and they're funny.
There's marriage every day for you people.
Yeah, exactly.
The bottom line is entertainment.
Exactly.
I've been to 3 WrestleManias, and every year I went, there was something I always wanted to do. And the last time I went to WrestleMania 33, I'm like, you know what? I'm absolutely doing this. I don't know if you guys have ever heard. There used to be something called $5 wrestling.
Oh,
you guys ever hear?
Yes.
I never got a chance to go to one of those, but something as simple as that. But the
What's
bottom
the
line,
other one where it's like big kaiju boss battle or something? But it's not pro wrestling, but it's like ridiculous, like Godzilla monsters you go to watch fight live.
Is it Kaiju Battle? There's something called Kaiju Battle. I don't know if it's the same thing though.
I think that's it.
It looks
The
amazing.
bottom line though is entertainment. Once the entertainment value is there, nothing else matters, and it's up to each individual person to figure out what entertains.
I got one, Jay. I don't mean to cut you off. Do you guys ever see Hood Slam? You ever see that promotion?
No, I haven't even heard of it.
I think Shelly Martinez and Leva Bates has worked for them. They literally, it's a ridiculous promotion, but it's a fun promotion. They do angles where like it's Sega Genesis versus Super Nintendo. Like these 2 brothers grew up on Sega, and it's like a blood. I don't know. But it's that niche market. You know what I mean? It's entertained me, but I'm sure Jim Cornette fucking hates it. So yeah,
he hates a lot of things, but that's all right. It's corny. What are you gonna do? Yeah, so I mean, we've absolutely completely, and I kind of expected this, but we've absolutely completely derailed off of any tracks we were on. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna title this episode "Fuck the Script" because that's exactly what we're doing. I kind of expected it with both of you guys on this show. I kind of figured it was gonna go that way.
Oh, dude, you can't have me and Travis on the show and expect to keep a format. We just go off on whatever the conversation is about. I'm sorry we ruined your format. We're terrible guests. I try to take over. We're ruining your format.
But let me tell you, the few people that actually do watch
Patterson jokes, fuck it all up.
the few people that actually do watch this show, it's just like what we were talking about. The bottom line is this show has been entertaining thus far, so who gives a fuck? Again,
there you go.
If you like it, you like it. You don't. But the point is, it's been entertaining, at least for me. So at least that's what it is. But let's go ahead and move forward though. The next thing we were supposed to be talking about. Well, actually, no. I think that was it. I think that was all the topics we had to talk about. Did you guys want to talk about anything else specifically? Since we're just saying fuck the script.
Well, I got.
We're going on the fly at this point.
Well, I got. Okay, look. You know how like at the end of the show when you sent us the script, there was going to be a 60-second rant topic.
Right,
well,
that'll be at the end.
I had 2, so maybe I could just bring one up now, and like for us to discuss if we want another topic.
Go ahead. What's the topic?
My issue is, and I'll save my other rant. So I picked my rant now. I was having a really big trouble. You can't ask a guy like me to pick one rant.
Choices.
Yeah, not good. Overwhelming choices. But
why don't you do that? Not to cut you off, but you remember that thing when you were kids, the thing you fold with the paper?
Yes.
Why don't you do one of those?
I should. It's
like asking
you guys remember?
I don't remember what they were called.
Like the origami thing.
Yeah, origami maybe.
Like yeah, something like that.
But I kind of want to talk about the unjustified butthurt of Cena Nakamura being on TV next week, because I don't get it. Complaining, okay, I get it. You think it should be on a WrestleMania stage? Fine, I get it. I can understand that. But why are you angry? Like I've seen some really, really angry people over this, and it's like I made this comparison, and I think it's an apt one. It's like getting a Christmas present a week before Christmas and being pissed off about it. I don't understand why you would be upset about it. Pay-per-views are not what they used to be. They're glorified Raws and they're glorified SmackDowns. So is there really that big a difference? Okay, except the Big Four, where they do make a big effort to try and make it different and make it stand out. Your average pay-per-views are just a glorified Raw and SmackDown. So you know what? You'll complain one week, oh, SmackDown was so fucking boring. Gross matches, everything sucked, blah, 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 blah. So what do? Here's Cena Nakamura. We're throwing you a bone. Oh, I can't believe it. Not on paper.
Just can't win.
this company is so stupid. It's like, do you even know what you want at this point? Like, do you even know?
No. People don't know what they want. Absolutely not.
Dude, I heard Cena Nakamura for next week on SmackDown. I'm like, fuck yeah, excited. I'm watching live.
Exactly.
Which I never do.
But I want to comment on that. But before I comment, both of you guys are smart guys, and I want an honest answer. Allegedly. Let's say for allegedly for WrestleMania 34, and I want an honest answer for WrestleMania 34. Let's say, for example, the main event for the Universal title was James Ellsworth versus Bo Dallas. Would you watch WrestleMania?
I'm such a mark that I probably would. Would I be happy about it? No.
Right. Travis, you?
I would watch no matter what. Would I be happy about it? It depends.
No,
are we going off like how they've been established, or are we like fantasy booking it totally, like pretending they're credible?
They just made the match at the pre-show.
Yeah.
So the point I'm trying to make, it's the worst possible scenario. We'd all be pissed about it. The bottom line is the whole place would be friggin' packed with people no matter what. And no matter what, people are still going to watch. Millions of people are going to watch. And the place is going to be friggin' crowded with 60, 70, 80,000 people. Pay-per-views are not the way it used to be anymore. Before, you'd have to have a good product so people could actually purchase the pay-per-view. Nowadays, it's just a network. It's $9.99.
They got your $9.99.
Correct. Pay-per-views are just that fifth Raw for the month, or that fifth SmackDown for the month. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So whether you get it on SmackDown or you get it, as a matter of fact, we were talking about business before. If I'm Vince, I give that shit on Raw and SmackDown versus the pay-per-views, because the sponsors and the ratings really mean more than, maybe not so much more than the $9.99, but really the big part of WWE's revenue is from the sponsorships, and sponsorships are for ratings and things like that, as far as television, are from Raw and SmackDown, not the pay-per-views, because the pay-per-views are not on USA, they're on the network. Do you guys kind of follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I agree with you. I mean, like you can't. The back in the day, the thing is that what people don't seem to realize, or maybe they just weren't old enough to remember, is that a pay-per-view was what, $30, $40?
Yes.
Now it's $9.99. You get that pay-per-view, you get the entire backlog, you get everything. So once they have your $9.99, what do they care? So they don't have to sell the pay-per-views as much, because you're already paying for the network. You're already getting the pay-per-view. No matter what, you're getting it. So they don't have to try as hard. Now, is that a good thing for the fans? No, but business-wise, what are you going to do? That's just the way things are now. There's New Japan. There's ROH. If you don't like the business model, go watch something else. It's perfectly okay. You don't have to be a WWE fan. Just like you don't have to be a New Japan to be a wrestling fan. If you like guys play fighting in the ring in their underwear, you are a wrestling fan. And for people to take it so seriously that it'll ruin their day if you say you like WWE, you need to take a step back, because the people in the business aren't even taking it as seriously as you are. So relax.
But on the same token, there's some crazy people that if you go outside of WWE, they're like ready to slit your throat. Like,
oh no, I
you want something other than WWE? Are you crazy? Like, so it's on both sides, really.
Like,
I'm Vince McMahon.
Travis, weigh in. Let me hear what you got to say about this.
I think it's a case of the more things change, the more they stay the same. I think pay-per-views are still important. It's just a different kind of important. Yeah. Pay-per-views now, they're important to get the character over. To get Samoa Joe over, he needed that main event pay-per-view. They're not living and dying off pay-per-view sales anymore, like Broski said at all. But on the other hand, I get why. I put a poll up on Twitter today, and it just said, was it the right move to do that on SmackDown as opposed to SummerSlam, business-wise? My 2 cents on it, if I'm Vince McMahon, I care a lot more about the eyes on USA Network watching it than the network where then I already got their money. Preferably, I would have loved to see this angle build up to a SummerSlam, but maybe that's the old school fan in me, the purist at the end of the day, wanting my build on this, but it's fine. I mean, I'm sure it's not going to be the last match these two have.
Well, there's another thing to consider here. It's a match to determine the number one contender to a title. So that match is going into a feud. This isn't the feud. This is just two guys going for the title.
Also, regardless of what anyone says, Vince may be slightly senile, but everyone's going fucking crazy. We don't even know. We may not even get a match. Some shit might happen where both these guys get attacked before the match starts. Jinder Mahal beats the shit out of both of them before the match starts. Or
I'm thinking Corbin takes out Nakamura. That's what I'm thinking.
Exactly. And then everyone bitching would have been bitching for no reason. Or the match is like 2 minutes and then we get some fuck finish. Or someone coming in, it's like a no contest. So everyone's going crazy. And we haven't even seen what happened yet.
As far as the SmackDown talent, these are the perfect two guys to have any kind of match with a stipulation like that, because you're immediately dividing the casual Cena loving fan and the marquee indie fan. Those are like the two quintessential fucking fans of these guys, right? So it's instant heat in the crowd. Nakamura is going to get the male vocal cheers. You know what the spectacle is going to be.
Do you guys?
And I'm sure we're going to get it.
Yeah. Do you guys think this is a kind of a test from Vince to see where Nakamura is, because he's facing Cena, and Cena's obviously he's usually split, but to see, hey, let's see how the crowd feels about him when he's in there with Cena. Do you think it's a little bit of a test, or at least to find out what's going on with Nakamura?
Yeah, it's actually funny that you mentioned that, because well, I was just going to say that I think it was funny that you brought that up, because Travis, I think you brought that up last week on the podcast, how it's Vince McMahon is taking this guy that the fans seem to like, and let's see how he hangs with Cena. Let's see how he hangs with the top dog of the promotion. Because like it or not, people, Cena's the top guy. He's been the top guy for a decade. He's going to be the top guy for a little bit longer. You just got to accept it. And
yeah, I think every guy out there is under a microscope every time he's like performing on TV. But I just think some guys have a bigger microscope on them, obviously, especially when you're one of the son-in-law's guys and you got something to prove, I guess.
Exactly.
Right. And Cena is absolutely the top dog. And I have to say, I don't know if it's because he's gone a lot, but I am so accepting of Cena now versus a year or two ago. I actually enjoy Cena now because he's not there all the time.
Cena gets a lot of unjust hate. I mean, the guy puts on consistently good matches. I don't care what anybody says. He's gotten older, he's gotten better in the ring. When does that happen? Usually it's the other way around.
Cena.
But he really needs to stop doing leapfrogs and sunset flips, though. Like, seriously.
I'm glad fucking horrible. I'm glad he took the springboard stunner out of his arsenal.
Yes, that
was the worst move ever.
God. Made him just look like he had epilepsy or something when he delivered it. I don't know.
And he wouldn't hit it correctly most times anyway.
I think with Cena, though, I just think he's had the misfortune. It's like they can't help to book him in at least one irrelevant feud a year, just like with this Rusev flag match. He had momentum. Everybody was excited, myself included, for the July 4th return. The flag match should have happened that fucking night. You wait 2 or 3 more weeks for the patriotic match, like you and I talked about on your show, Broski, whatever. But I just think an irrelevant feud with Cena, then it's like, then he doesn't. I don't know. And now you go to social media right now, people complaining he's already going to get it 17 times. And, this is just to get it off. Whoever it is, Nakamura and Cena at SummerSlam, I call now. I don't think they're beating Jinder. I think Jinder still holds that title. I really do.
Yeah, I do.
Call me crazy.
I do. I think Jinder holds that title to Royal Rumble, to be honest with you. And I think he loses it at Royal Rumble to set up whatever the hell the WrestleMania match is going to be, like whoever versus whoever. I don't think he's losing.
I'm thinking Survivor Series maybe, but a Rumble, I could see that too, maybe. Stretch.
Yeah, we could probably, because they're going to want something big to happen. The big four, they're making emphasis on the big four, so they want big stuff to happen. So that could be the big thing at Survivor Series. So really, I mean, us three, I'm pretty sure we can definitely stay here and talk for the next 3 hours about the stuff. But unfortunately, it's time to take this one home. I definitely would love both of you guys back on another episode of this, because I could talk wrestling with you guys like all day. Yeah. But before we do, I want to go into the last segment. As Broski was saying earlier, it's time for the Gripe Bomb. For anyone who's never watched the show, what the Gripe Bomb is I'll give both of our guests 60 seconds to rant or complain or bitch or whatever verbs you want to use about anything in wrestling. So Travis, I'm gonna go ahead and start with you first. You have 60 seconds, so go ahead and drop your Gripe Bomb.
My Gripe Bomb. What's pissing me right off right now? Well, we've talked about a couple of the things right now with just what's going on in the news and stuff. With the Page and ADR thing, I'm going to take the safe answer, the safe way out of this. It's easy to gripe about. I mean, once, like, we've all said it. You people saw it. The woman was accused of the stuff, not the man. And it's like, I don't see anybody retracting stories or coming to ADR's defense. No, it's just, and on the same token, it's also people being irresponsible with, like, basing one fucking picture of Paige looking like she's on crack to, you know, obviously she posted another picture, but that's just splitting hairs. I think the bigger problem being Paige, being a fucking train wreck, getting a pass because she's a woman. I'm sorry if that offends any of your listeners, but that's totally what's going on at the end of the day. It's like these people are in denial. These people are in flat out denial of the situation.
And if you disagree with Travis, where's Adam Rose? Rest my case.
I mean, it is what it is. It's just ADR is not an easy person to like. I agree. I think he's a total prick. He's cocky. But at the end of the day, it's an admirable kind of trait when you're in a profession like his, because you kind of need that to have a backbone in professional wrestling. He doesn't take shit. He got the wrong end of the deal on a racial thing that happened earlier in his career. Brought him back. Who knows? But ship sales, they can't be soon enough for their relationship. I don't have a timer up.
I like how I said time and then you went for another 10 seconds, but that's fine.
Oh, I didn't hear you. My bad.
You're all good. But yeah, the ADR shit. Look, I'll be honest. I'm not a big fan of the guy. I was never a fan of the guy. I honestly find him boring. But all the shit that's happening outside, I was one of those guys like, oh man, Paige needs to get out of there. And I mean, I wasn't like this social justice warrior on Twitter and shit, but she needs to get out of there and do her thing, get back to WWPN. But then you're hearing the stories flip. Where are all these people like, oh yeah, they're in a bad relationship and get out of it? How come no one's
admit they were wrong prior to them to have a backbone? And that's wrong with what's wrong with 70% of the people on social media. They don't have fucking backbones, but they have opinions all day. I've been wrong more times tweeting, but I'll always be the first to admit when I'm wrong on any situation. Trust me.
But how come no one's tweeting Alberto Del Rio? I'm like, listen, you're in an abusive relationship. You need to pack your shit and go move on with your career and forget about. How come no one's saying that?
Because no one does that for men.
Put out 20 to 30.
What's that?
Yeah, and plus they probably put out 20 to 30 tweets before that to get attention, bashing ADR and putting up memes because it was funny and popular. Now they don't want to look like fucking idiots, and they don't want to delete tweets on the other hand because that also makes you look like a quote unquote big puss.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
It is what it is. But now we're gonna go to Broski. Broski, again, you have 60 seconds, so go ahead and drop your gripe bomb.
All right, my problem is with Kenny Omega, so unpopular opinion time. Okay. Recently, he had a match where it was labeled as a comedy match where both guys in the ring had their ankles taped and they were flopping around the ring. And if I said it, I said on Twitter, way to lower the bar for wrestling and comedy. And my main issue wasn't the match because it's Kenny Omega. He's going to do dumb things, and that's fine. I accept that. I don't really care. I don't watch it, so it doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that Lance Storm retweeted it with the caption, That's it, Like, what's going on here? And Omega had to be this, quite frankly, a beta male here and be like, oh, I guess wrestling comedic style successfully isn't as entertaining as wrestling straight style, but a boring match. And I'm sorry, but yeah, is Lance Storm the height of charisma? No, but in ring, he's great. He's great. That you can't deny that. And to say that your comedy wrestling is taping your ankles, no, comedy wrestling is Colt Cabana. You want to go watch some funny wrestling? Watch Colt Cabana. Watch the Fashion Files.
Time.
Fuck Kenny Omega.
So I'm glad you brought that up because I've been meaning to ask somebody. I hope you guys have an answer, or I need to look it up, or I could just be completely off. I thought the reason they did that, I thought Jim Cornette said something. I may be wrong, but I thought Jim Cornette said something to Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega, they had this set up basically as an answer to Jim Cornette. Or am I totally wrong in thinking that? Because I saw people commenting about Jim Cornette and Kenny Omega, the reason why he was doing this. Or am I totally off on this?
I have no idea. It wouldn't surprise me. They have a pretty legendary feud going on. Cornette does not like Omega at all. I listened to his podcast and I've heard, or Joey Ryan, or anybody, or Chuck Taylor, the fake hand grenade thing in PWG, which I think is stupid too. Comedy wrestling isn't
old ass clip.
Yeah, I know.
Wait,
I know.
You think old. PWG is stupid or
no, not PWG. They did this spot.
Hand grenade.
Yeah, the hand grenade spot. I think that's kind of silly. I think it's kind of dumb. I mean, comedy wrestling to me is a guy like Colt Cabana. You know, a guy who can have a little fun in the ring. You know, he dodges a wrestler, he'll knock you in the back of the head and then like stick his tongue out or something. That's fine. That's completely acceptable. I have no problem with that. when you're doing things like taping your legs together and flopping around in a ring, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just old, but that's not funny to me. And I consider myself a pretty funny guy, and I don't get it. And the people defending it were, holy shit, holy shit.
But there's always going to be that, and I found I'm a huge New Japan mark, and I saw a piece of that clip, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It
like,
just seemed really
it didn't
out
look
of place.
entertaining at all. Yeah.
It looked really out of place.
But I mean, everyone has their own ideas of entertaining. I mean, I remember Batista. We're going back to the WWE, but I remember Batista fighting John Cena in a last man standing match. I don't know if you guys remember. John Cena duct tape Batista so he couldn't get back up. Duct tape his feet. I don't know if you guys saw that match.
Yeah,
that was stupid as hell to me. But
yeah.
See, I don't mind that because for some fucking reason I'm reminded of Bash at the Beach '96. Do you remember John Tenta and fucking Big Bubba Rogers? It was like a tape on a pole. And they did that too. Okay, they taped their legs with just straight up tape, but the announcers did a good job in explaining how perspiration makes it hard to break tape. And it's kind of true. If you get tape wet sometimes, it's really hard if you put enough of it on. Depends how you present that.
I don't mean to like go into a whole brand new topic, but man, I was watching a lot of old school shit recently on the network, and what you just said is something that is so missing from today's product. The commentary, like I was listening to a lot of Vincent Jesse and Gorilla and Jesse and Gorilla and Bobby the Brain Heenan, and it's something as simple as that, like, oh, he's sweating, so it's making it harder. Stuff like that. That small little thing, it adds, to me at least, it adds to the realism of the match, and I think that's missing big time today.
It's logical.
We can literally do a podcast segment off duct tape proving that. So bring your next random thing, and then I'll make a topic off of it. No, but in all seriousness, the Kenny Omega thing, it's just that Kenny Omega's in a different place from like you or I, Broski or Jay, or like that was really unprofessional. It's not like Lance Storm took a direct shot.
No, exactly.
These guys got to remember they're fucking professionals, and you're just giving not fans of yours more ammunition, and people like Cornette more ammunition. And if he really doesn't like Cornette and Lance Storm, he's got to realize that even responding to that is giving them tons of attention, exactly what they want.
Well, I don't know how much you guys really follow Omega, but I'm a big fan of his, really, at least his in-ring work. But on Twitter, if anyone is against him, I've seen numerous times he gets extremely defensive.
And I hate that.
He gets extremely defensive.
Can I do like a DLC thing that I wish I would have said, or a little extra thing? Because I tweeted this out today. I saw this, and this is a big problem. Do it in like 15 seconds, Jay, for your show, for the sake of
downloadable content. Go ahead.
I saw a tweet sent out by Aleister Black today on Twitter. Aleister Black is supposed to be the second coming of The Undertaker, or Ooga Booga, the scary guy, right? In the tweet, he was thanking Finn Balor for being one of his favorite guys to work with, and he put, direct quote, "sorry for being a meanie." And then I retweeted it, and I said, social media ruins gimmicks. Stop doing this. God.
No, Aleister Black and somebody...
Oh, fuck it. That's what my daughter says. My daughter says hardcore-infested meanie.
Aleister Black did this like 2 weeks ago too. He said something. Ah, man, I don't remember what it was. And I remember one of the guys from our network pointed out, like, this guy totally, like, kayfabe really means shit these days. There is no kayfabe these days.
Dead. It's dead.
It's dead, buried in heaven right now. There is no kayfabe.
I just want to clarify, my main issue with my rant was mainly how he dealt with the Lance Storm tweet. I don't really care what he does in the ring. It's not for me, so I don't watch it. If you enjoy it, Jay, if Travis enjoys it, hey, we can still talk. We can still be friends. My main issue, though, was, God, it's it's like Road Dogg thanking someone for defending him. Like, how much of a beta male do you have to be to go online and say, thanks for defending me, random Twitter nerd? Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
I love how Road Dogg will totally like mentally castrate someone on Twitter, and then his next tweet about being God bless us all. I love being Christian.
It's so good.
It's so true too, though. But you know, it's funny. Broski just said that because I've said like at least 50 million negative things on WWE and their product, and Road Dogg has never really said. And I've said some good things as well. Road Dogg has never ever replied, comment, like on anything I said. But the one time I semi-defended something about WWE, but I don't even remember what it was. It was like a week ago. Road Dogg actually replied back. I was like, and he liked it. And he was like, yeah, exactly. You get it. I forgot what it was, what I said. I don't even remember what I said. But like you guys were saying, if you defend, he'll be all for you.
Oh, it's so sad though. Like you work for a massive, huge company. I mean, we're all small YouTubers, right? Do we go and like get all butthurt if someone's like, "Oh, your content sucks"? It's like, all right, your opinion is an opinion. I don't really need to listen to it. Like, it doesn't really affect me. I'm gonna stay here, do my thing. Thanks for the dislike, bro. Engagement's rules.
Exactly.
Am I gonna go and somebody who defends me and be like, "Hey, thanks, pal. You're so good. Thanks. You get it. You're the best." Like, no, grow the fuck up, dude.
But in 2017, not to go off topic here, in 2017, I think so many people are looking for that acknowledgement or that one. Today I went to lunch. Me and the owner of the company went to lunch, and he knows the owner of the sandwich shop that we went to lunch, and he called the guy over and he's like, "Listen, I want you to tell Jay, when someone goes on Yelp and gives your place a bad review, what do you do?" And the guy told me, he goes and he said, "I'm more than welcome to go and check." He goes and he replies and like, "Listen, if you don't like my sandwich shop, go fuck yourself." And the guy's like, "I know I have good food. I've been doing this for 50 years now. I don't give a fuck what they say. People are still going to be coming no matter what."
If ever I'm in your area, I'm heading to that sandwich shop because he's not pandering to people on the internet for likes. I love this guy.
He's from Boston. Yeah, he's from
love
Boston.
Him. Oh, he's from Boston. God damn, I'm from Montreal. I can't like Boston people. Boston Bruins, Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
No one outside of Massachusetts is allowed to like anyone from Boston. I'm from New York, so I'm not allowed to like Boston.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, with the Red Sox, right?
Well, I'm not really a Yankees fan. I'm a Mets fan.
Okay.
But I'm a Jets fan, and we hate Patriots. So.
Well, there you go. See, I hate the Bruins, so I'm not allowed. Sorry. I'm not going to your sandwich shop, bro. Sorry.
You can keep your sandwich shop, bro.
Yeah, I'm going on.
Hand to God.
Hand to God, bro. I will never, ever go to this sandwich shop unless I'm wearing my Montreal Canadiens jersey, okay, bro? Hand to God, bro. Not gonna do it.
Don't take his chicken and dumplings, whatever the fuck you do.
Oh my God. What an idiot.
God.
But you guys, come on, Russo. I'm not talking about his booking, but like his podcast and his YouTube and shit. I find him very entertaining, or is it just me?
He's super entertaining. Like
he's so entertaining.
Even it's just to sit there and laugh at the way he talks, or the way he express, or sometimes his crazy views on things. Yeah, I'm not gonna take. Do I like the guy? But you know, I'll admit I'm a kind of a Cornette, old school guy. But he does make me laugh.
But let me tell you, I was watching a thing on YouTube the other day with him, and I don't know what. I don't know if he was reviewing something or what, but he basically compared New Day to Men on a Mission, and I started laughing for like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
like,
same gimmick.
Same gimmick. But he's like, as a matter of fact, Mabel was way better than anybody at New Day, and I'm like, what the fuck? I was laughing so hard. I don't even know if he's trolling or he's serious.
Did you not see the tag match from Battleground? Holy shit.
Yeah, that was a great match.
That was like the only good, at least for me, the only good thing on Battleground. It was easily the best match of the night. Easily.
Yeah, I agree.
Tons of attention though, like point in case in point, excuse me, you, Jay. I mean, that got you talking, laughing. I think he does that intentionally sometimes. I don't really think he thinks that.
Cornette is one of those guys.
Anybody too. Really? I'm sure. Like, I bring up my kids again. Shout out to my kids. I'm sure my kids wouldn't even think that if I compared them.
Yeah, Men on a Mission. They were god awful.
I think Cornette and Russo are more similar than different, and I think that's why they clash. They just have different viewpoints.
I don't think they clash at all. I think that's the biggest fucking work ever.
Wow.
They have legal papers now. Like, there's that restraining order bull crap. I mean, that's a hell of a work.
Cornette.
I know Randy Savage really split up from Elizabeth.
Yeah, exactly.
To continue the angle, even though they're still together, but I think that's a hell of a stretch for him to just.
I guarantee you, I'm sure they have some sort of issue, but I think they go extra, especially Cornette. Don't be surprised sometime in the next year, there's some sort of summit or some shit with these two guys, and they're selling tickets. Do not remember you're hearing it from.
Oh, wow! I might come back in a year and be like, "What was that, Jay? What'd you say there?"
Yeah,
Cornette's got his toes in the water with WWE again, so he kind of has that financially. If he gets in desperate times, he can always call up the E, even though he's like, I'm against them. They'll pay me $3 million and I'll come in, or whatever he said in his last podcast. I don't know. I don't think it's
alive still.
Oh God!
At the end of the day, Jim Cornette is really crazy. I don't think it's carrot. I just think he's legit. He would strangle someone in a drive-through. He's just, some people are like, I know people in real life like that. I mean,
yeah. But you can't deny he loves wrestling. That's
he does. Absolutely does.
That's why I listen to his podcast. He's entertaining. Is he over the top? Does he say some things that even as a big Jim Cornette fan, I'm like, eek, that's a little bit much. Yeah, sure. You know, he's an entertainer. He's been in wrestling his entire life.
We're all line steppers.
Yeah, habitual line steppers in some of our cases.
Exactly. You know whose podcast though I really found entertaining, and I was shocked. Bruce Pritchard, aka Brother Love, the guy on his show Conrad. He's a little bit annoying to me, but the old stories and the shit I find, and his Bruce Pritchard actually does some impersonations really funny. But I actually enjoy listening to that show. I don't know if you guys ever heard.
I've caught a couple episodes, and I've always liked what I heard.
I used to not be able to stand him until he did that show. Now I can.
Me too.
Tolerate him. I like hearing.
I hated him.
Circle meetings, events, and booking around the pool at Vince's and stuff like that.
Well, any stories from the old school from when we were watching wrestling and growing up, it's, you know, if you're a wrestling fan, of course that shit's going to be interesting to you because that's all the stuff you wanted to know back then, but kayfabe. And now that that's not an issue, everything comes out. So, I mean, any old school podcast, I'll give a chance, you know?
The greatest discovery for me ever.
Commentaries.
What do you love?
I think he said kayfabe commentaries, and I agree.
I was just about to say, my greatest discovery ever was shoot videos because I never knew it existed until like maybe 8 years ago or something like that. And I think the first no, it was actually Honky Tonk Man of all people. On
YouTube. Man, he shoots straight, man. He don't give no fucks.
And I'm like, what kind of promo is this? Because I didn't know what shoot was, and I'm like. And then I asked somebody, I'm like, how come I cut this like 2-hour promo? And they're like, that's not a promo, that's shooting. And I'm like, oh shit. And I looked up like every one of the first guys.
Like as far as shoots, when I first started getting, he was one of the first ones too. I've learned a lot over the years. Like he's one of the bigger bullshitters though. Like he's ripped a lot of guys off. A lot of guys off.
You said he sucked a lot of guys off?
Like financially, like.
I could see that.
And I think it was like the thing with the Patriot gimmick at one point or something. I don't know. Him and Greg Valentine love each other to death. Let me tell you, there's nothing but war with those two. Last I saw.
Rhythm and blues. It's all about maybe because he made Greg Valentine go black hair, dye his hair black. Who knows?
The worst shooting interviews though, when you watch a bad one, like the Hornswoggle one, I just couldn't stand Hornswoggle. Like I heard stories for years that he was a dick. He really came off like he's a dick. Like, and he's one of those guys, like, I got kayfabe commentaries money. They're going to put me in the hot seat, but I'm going to give fast answers because I can.
Yeah.
Of course, Sonny.
I've seen Sonny's. I liked Nash and Hall did like 1 million of them from different companies or something. Shawn Michaels did one during the time he was like off the product before he came back. And the whole time he's like spitting tobacco into a cup or something. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah. Based off of like who I would want to hang out with in real life out of any shoot interview I'd ever seen, I'd say Kevin Nash. He seems like the coolest motherfucker in the world.
I actually met him.
Shoot the breeze with.
The first time I ever met a pro wrestler, in Florida, there was a Survivor Series here. I have absolutely no idea what year it was. It was 2000, like sometime in the 2000s, before 2010 and after 2002, and it was in Miami, and they were at FYE. I don't even know if FYE is still in business. It's like a place you buy like CDs and shit. And they did a meet and greet, and I went there, and Kevin Nash was sitting down, and I went. He signed the autograph, and we took a picture. Kevin Nash sitting down is taller than me standing up, which I thought was fucking crazy.
Yeah, he's a big man, that's for sure.
He is.
He was Super Shredder, Jay.
Super Shredder.
Yeah, he was the only guy who could like he was the only guy strong enough that could hold up the costume.
Yeah, and hold up the what was the thing that was falling down in the movie? Was it the deck or something?
Like a dock, I think.
His WCW career at the time.
Shade.
What a way to close your show with a bad joke.
Exactly. But we'll take it. There's enough good jokes to put this one through. But yeah, man, I mean, I just we are gonna go ahead and close this up now. We're way beyond time, but Vince is giving me the signal.
He's giving me that cut signal.
He's giving me that cut signal. So
now.
He said, "Get the fuck off."
Get the fuck out of my ring.
So, Broski, I'm gonna go to you first. Go ahead and tell the people where they can find your entertaining stuff, your YouTube show, where they can find you on social media and all that good stuff.
You can follow me on Twitter at MTLBroski. My channel is First Thing in the Morning, youtube.com/First Thing in the Morning Show. I have a Patreon and a Pro Wrestling Tees store. It's both prowrestlingtees.com/FTITM and patreon.com/FTITM. Wrestling related, we got the Kayfabe Today podcast that Travis here is my new co-host on. So be sure to check that out if you're a wrestling fan, if you're into gaming, if you're into terrible relationship advice, or if you're just, you want to discover some heroes of the internet. Head over to First Thing in the Morning.
Thank you so much again, Broski. Guys, definitely go ahead and check that out. Travis, please tell the good people where they can find you.
As always, you can check me out on Twitter at @VickyTMD. Check out the reset button if you're into gaming. If you're into wrestling, we got Slam Pigs Podcast, Slam Pigs Cruise Control, our 2 of 5 live show with Logan and Kristen, and Slam Pigs Union Smack, covering eventually a UK show, but now it's a retro show. And yeah, as always, I'm the other half of the Can-Am Delights. Catch me on Kayfabe Today on First Thing in the Morning on YouTube. Get over there and subscribe as well.
Thank you also, Travis. Thank you both for joining me.
That's it.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I am, of course, I can be reached at the P1JB. I recently changed my Twitter handle. So again, it's at the P1JB. You can find all of our stuff, everything Wrestling World Podcast Network related at the WWPN, firstly on Twitter, and our website is thewwpn.com. I want to, as always, thank everybody for supporting us so much. I was just talking to CEO Hayes yesterday, and the downloads for our podcast are going through the roof. Thank you so much for showing so much support for the new show, For the Love of Lucha. For anyone who hasn't watched it, listened to it, it's done in all kayfabe. The Andrew Bellows doing a good job on that. We also have Wrestling Redneck joining them. Listen to all our shows: Red Zone, Blue Zone, Next Level. Got a million shows. Also, for you old school fans, we will be bringing back Throwback. Both of you guys, I would love to have you on the show. It's audio podcast, reviewing old shows. So Travis and Broski will check your schedules. Definitely have you on one of those. And that's really going to do it. For Travis, for Broski, I am the Prodigal One, JayB, saying thank you.